With the first stroke patient receiving a dose of Argenica's therapeutic ARG-007, the company is well and truly in the human trials stage for our drug designed to reduce brain tissue death following stroke. So as a company, we are hugely excited that we've dosed our first patient in this phase 2 clinical trial. This has been over 12 years in the making to get to this point in the clinical drug development of ARG-007. So essentially, for the very first time, we will be showing that hopefully that the drug is safe to deliver in stroke patients, but also that it has an ability to reduce brain tissue death following a stroke, which is so needed for these stroke patients. So an ischemic stroke is caused by a clot in a blood vessel in the brain. Once you have a clot in a blood vessel, it prevents blood flow to that part of the brain. Brain cells need blood because the blood delivers oxygen, and without that oxygen, brain tissue starts to die. So for these patients, these ischemic stroke patients, which make up around 85% of all stroke patients, the only treatment really is to address the removal of that clot. However, that can't be done until a patient is scanned to determine the type of stroke that they're having, to determine the location of the clot, and to work out what that treatment is for that patient. So the treatments are either essentially being administered a clot-dissolving drug to dissolve that clot in the brain, or a procedure known as a thrombectomy, which will mechanically remove the clot. However, all the while that the patient is waiting to get those treatments, we know that around 1.9 brain cells are dying every minute. So really what the aim of our drug is to essentially hibernate brain cells and buy that patient time to get the clot-removing treatments that they need to restore blood flow and restore function. So we have just embarked on a phase 2 clinical trial across Australian hospitals. So essentially what a phase 2 clinical trial in neurology is first and foremost a safety trial. So neurological drugs need to show that they do no harm to patients. So this is the biggest hurdle in terms of getting these drugs approved. We then obviously need to show that the drug has some level of efficacy. So the primary aim really is around that safety to deliver our drug into stroke patients. And then secondly, we will be looking at the ability of the drug to reduce the total amount of brain injury that we see on imaging. We anticipate this trial will take around 2 years to complete. This will give us a really, really good sense of essentially how the drug is working and what it will look like in a phase 3 clinical trial. So a phase 3 trial is the next step in the clinical trial process. This will be a large global trial undertaken in a number of countries across the globe. So ultimately what Argenica wants to do after this current phase 2 clinical trial is find a pharmaceutical partner that we can work with on that phase 3 trial to then hopefully get this drug to market.